Hello, so we're stood outside the BCA Animal Management Centre at the moment. We're going to be giving you a quick virtual tour around the centre today. So we're just stood outside the main building at the moment. So just behind me is the zoo leading on to the exotics house. Behind this building we have got our farm, tea area and also our small mammals. But while we're stood out the front here, we'll just quickly point out, so I don't know if you can see, just across the road down to the left hand side we have got a small brown building. That's our kennels area. So that's where lots of the dogs are kept, and they will be used for dog behavioural modules and also grooming and walking. Okay, so as you're going towards the end of the corridor, so the classrooms are just down here on my right hand side. We have got 4 doors. We have got the kitchen in here, so this is the zoo kitchen. This is where lots of the food prep and things will go on, and this is mainly where you'll be based for your practical zoo lessons. We then have across the hall, we have got our nocturnal room. So because we are filming this a little bit later in the evening, the lights are actually on at the moment. So we'll go in, it makes it a bit easier to do some filming and show you guys around. It does mean lots of the animals in here will be asleep, however, because this is kind of their reverse cycle. So we have got our genet in here. We have got a genet called Geo. He is tucked up in bed on the other side, but he has both of these enclosures. We have got a pygmy slow loris called Doris in this one, so you can just about see her bottom asleep in her bed there. So that's Doris. We have an armadillo. He will be tucked up in the bark somewhere. We have a 3-banded armadillo called Antonio, and he has access to both sides of this enclosure. So he's got a bark area and then a soil area as well. Lots of small rodents then along the wall. So we have got Turkish spiny mice. You can see them up towards the top there. We've got 10 females in there, so they're all cuddling together next to the heat lamp. Chinchillas in the one next door. So we've got 2 female chinchillas. One of them is just out at the moment, probably getting ready for bed. And then flying squirrels right down towards the end. So we've got 4 girl flying squirrels. You might just be able to see the kind of movement of a little red squirrel sitting under its heat lamp. So we've got 4 flying squirrels. We've got a door just over to this left hand side. So this is the tech office. This is where if you need to find any of the technicians at any point, this is generally where they're based. And then this finally is kind of our project room at the moment. So it used to house lots of our small mammals, but this will be eventually made into an amphibian room. So all the frogs and things from exotics will move over to here. So coming out into the courtyard, this is where the majority of our zoo animals are housed. So the first kind of things you come to are our 2 aviaries. We've got our kookaburras and tawny frogmouth on this side. The aviary just over to this side is going under some redevelopment work, so we're hopefully going to move some of our species around. We've got our barley starling that used to be in there. He's just moved around the corner now with our Palawan peacock pheasant. We do lots of work with the Silent Forest campaign. So we do lots of fundraising for them to kind of support the barley starlings. So we've got our possum in here, our brush-tailed possum. This is where Wallace lives, and we have just got a female called Mittens as well, who's about to come out of quarantine, and she'll be heading over onto the other side. Our raccoon enclosure. So lots of things to do in there. They will all just be tucked up in this wooden hut at the side here. So this is their kind of bedroom area. But we've got 3 raccoons. We've got Honey, Buzz, her son, and then another raccoon as well, Bronson. We've got 2 skunks, a pair of skunks on the left-hand side as you head down. This is our female lapresses enclosure. It is our otter pool. But we've got 2 otters, so we've got Asian short-clawed otters. Then we have the Callitropic cabin. So we've got 3 cotton-top tamarins over on this side. This is their kind of outdoor garden area. Inside is nice and warm, so I imagine they are all tucked up inside as well. And then we have 2 female Geldy monkeys over to the other side who have a similar sort of garden area. So this is our meerkat enclosure, just over to this side. We have got 7 meerkats. We have got our lemur house and enclosure on this side, so this is the tops of the aviaries you saw as we were stood outside. We've got 3 ring-tailed lemurs. And then finally, just next door to them, we have got our common squirrel monkeys. So we've got 3 boys. So this is the inside of our exotics house. So this is the home of our reptiles, our amphibians, and also our insects. So we have got the main corridor. So this is probably one of the most impressive animals we have got here at the zoo. This is our blue-tailed monitor lizard. We have got our emerald tree boa, Jenny, who lives in this enclosure here. She is all the way towards the back, so you can kind of just catch a glimpse of the green of her, but she's a very impressive snake, one of the largest snakes that we house. We have got a big mixed species exhibit. Making our way down this way, we've got some geckos, we've got leopard geckos and leaf-tailed geckos, as well as some of our frogs, a much smaller example of the emerald tree boa in here. So we've got another one of our snakes. This is the home of Pablo, so we've got our Cuban rock iguana, who lives in this large enclosure here. And he shares his enclosure with some blue spiny lizards. So you can see one just on this log here. We have got our green rough snakes in here, quite small little snakes, they've just moved in. Cave crickets, so it looks quite dark, quite hard to see on video, but some of our insects that are on show as well, they've got really impressive hind legs. And then our spiders. So making our way round into the kind of back rooms. This is our invert room. So we've got a variety of different kind of tarantulas and things. One of our fire legs is just tucked up against the glass there. We've got really impressive vampire crabs, probably quite hard to see again on film. Lots of scorpions breeding in the tubs. These are some of our babies as well. Lots and lots of invert breeding programs going on. So we've got our praying mantises in these tubs. We've got loads of those that are juveniles. They breed really, really well here at the zoo. Snails. Then these are probably one of our most famous breeding programs that we're doing here at the zoo. We have got our desertus wolf spiders. So these are critically endangered spiders. We're one of the only few zoos in the UK that are actually doing some of the conservation and breeding towards it. And we have been on the news with BBC, kind of promoting some of the work that we're doing with them. More mantids up in the top aviaries. We've got cockroaches, millipedes, stick insects, really, really cool inverts that you guys would get to work with. Not only kind of doing handling, but also lots of the husbandry behind them as well. But this is where we have got some of our new animals. So these are our spotted pond turtles. Sat on his little bit of sand there. We've got some more tubs and things that are being done up at the moment. So we have got some very cool new arrivals over in quarantine. So we've got some crocodiles and some caiman that will be going into these tubs, some babies. And then I don't know if you can see, but just in the middle here, these are our Titicaca water frogs. So these are babies as well. There was originally only actually 4 zoos in the UK that had these guys, and they were shipped over from Denver in Colorado. So we have got kitchens in here and also over in the zoo as well that you saw earlier. So this is where lots of the food prep, things like that would go on, lots of the tools are stored. But just down this corridor here, this is what we call project room. So this is our corridor. We've got things like baby blue spiny lizards, the ones that you saw that were in with the iguana. These are loads of little babies in here. It's quite hard to see them, but they are up on the tops of the roof there. This is the last part of the exotics house. So this is our main reptile room. Lots of the common handling species that you'll get to use for your handling lessons, but again also for lots of the husbandry. So we have things like bearded dragons. We've got 2 bearded dragons. There's painted dragons just over to the left-hand side there. Turn down on the rock. We then have spiny-tailed lizards. We've also got in here an Egyptian tortoise. So Chippy is just kind of tucked under that bit there next to the rock. And he is a critically endangered Egyptian tortoise. So he's the 2nd smallest in the world. I'm really, really lucky to have him. Corn snakes, someone that's finally active. So we've got 4 girl corn snakes that live in here. And then royal pythons in the one next door. So really common pet species that you guys would get to do lots of hands-on work with. And then a bit more of a challenging snake, we've got the stinking goddess in the enclosure next door. And finally a rat snake in the far side. Old lizards, just in this mixed species enclosure. So these are from Australia, and so they share their enclosure with our 2 skinks. This is our small mammal section. So we've got 4 sections here at the animal management unit. So we've got the zoo and the exotic sections, which we've already seen. And then we have small mammals and livestock that we'll see in a moment. So these are some of our rabbit pens. This is one of the largest areas that we'll be working on. So we've got a few pairs and a few individuals as well, that we would do things like husbandry. There's loads of training going on with the rabbits, things like health checks and injections that we'll be able to do. And then just behind me we have got the 3 different sheds. So we'll go into some of the sheds and see the animals. So we've got guinea pigs in the first room, ferrets in the second, and then our small rodent room at the far end there, as well as paddock, which we'll have a look at as well. So this is our guinea pig room. We have got 2 pens of guinea pigs, girls and boys, on either side. Then we have our 2 other sheds on small mammal section. So this is our ferret shed. We're not going to go in today because there are strict rules and regulations at the moment in place with COVID. But we have got 3 groups of ferrets in there. And then coming around the corner, we have got our small rodent shed. In here are lots of the handling animals that you guys will be working with, things like rats, stegues, gerbils and hamsters. So they're all in separate little aviaries, lots of enrichment, lots of husbandry that goes on in here, as well as all of the handling for this section. So the 4th shed that you may have seen is the student workshop. So it's not part of the small mammal section. That is where we have got all of our tools, all the wood. So if you needed to make any large enrichment items, things like that, that would be done in the workshop. And then finally, for the small mammal section, we have got paddocks. So out there we have got the 2 emus, you can see just over by the fence line. This is Nelly and Rod. And then we have got 2 red-necked wallabies. So this is our last section, so this is down on the T. So we do have the agriculture side of it, which is our commercial sheep flocks. So if you look over to the far side over there, you can see we've got loads of fields. These at certain points here will be filled with all kinds of ewes, rams and lambs. So we've just come to the end of our lambing season at the moment. But the T is where the animal management students will work predominantly. So we've got some very friendly goats with us. These are our Anglo-Nubian girls. So we've got 3 girls down here at the moment. This is just Luna coming to say hello. And then over on the other side we've also got the classic pygmy goats. So we've got our 3 females as well as 2 of our kids from earlier in the year, so they're getting quite big now, and that is something that we hopefully will continue to do. So we've got a couple that are pregnant at the moment, so hopefully we'll have some more kids on the way. Just behind me you can just see their sheds at the moment. They are just being fully cleaned for the year, but we've got all of our chicken area. So we have our layers that live out here, so they are free range during the day. We've got some light Sussex chickens, some cockerels and our bronze turkeys as well. And then we have also got a shed of rare breed chickens. So as well as our goats and sheep that we've already seen, we do also then have our 3 pigs down here on the T. So these are Oxford Sandy black pigs. They're a rare breed of pig. And we have got Olivia up here at the front, Olive in the middle, and then Opal towards the back there. We also have down on the farm our alpacas and our llama. So we've got Miss Moneypenny, the white one, over in the middle of the field there, a brown one called Miracle just down here by the shed, and Samson, our llama,